Hey guys, welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast. Today is a super yacht edition, so luxury edition if you want. I'm interviewing Chad DeWet. He's founder at Superyacht CRM. He's in South Africa right now, and they have these blackouts. So Chad is live from South Africa right now. We're gonna talk about his background, which is quite interesting. So Chad started this journey as a pirate in the La Paz Bay in Mexico, looking for a job and interfering with radio sequences to see if there were any jobs in that part of the world, which is beautiful. La Paz is where people go for diving, lots of biodiversity there. Interesting guy. And yeah, he quickly got the top ranks on some super yacht. That rank is chief officer. It's right before the captain of these super ships. And yeah, we're going to discuss the industry because as some of you guys might know, I intend to have my super yacht in before decade. So Chad, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and tell us about your story?
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah, man. Like I said, I've been a digital nomad for the last 20 years. Well, for the first 90 or 15 years, we're mainly working at sea, traveling literally all over the world. Starting in Mexico, that's where I physically started, trying to get my opportunities there. Literally hitchhiking up and down the coast, finding work, learning Spanish, and getting to know like the industry. And then eventually, I actually got robbed. Very funny story. Many times, but it led to me coming back to South Africa for the World Cup in 2010, and then I kind of thought to myself, okay, cool, what's happening next? Then I got an opportunity to fly to where was that? Tahiti. So I went to Tahiti, and then that's kind of where everything kicked off. I'm on a good boat, a nice big fleet of vessels, and we traveled all around the equator, and we learned we did diving, we did heaps of marine biology, and yeah, that's what I did for 15 years. I mean, up and down the coast, dual seasons, charter boats, private boats. Worked for a few, loads of celebrities. I've met loads of celebrities, all that jazz. But I've met a lot of very rich people, and that's eventually, when you're in that environment, you have goals, you have dreams. You want to be someone. You know what I mean? Like I'm a dreamer. 100%. I'm a dreamer. So I decided, you know what, I want to start my own business, or I'm going to try something. So I eventually went down the path of coaching. I started with coaching, helping people find jobs on super yachts, because it's a very lucrative industry. I mean, especially if you've just left school. A lot of people, especially a lot of South Africans, go over because the money's ridiculous. And then, yeah.
When you say that money's ridiculous, like how much can you earn in what period of time?
Okay, so for example, if you've just left school and you're 18 years old and you're South African, right? In your first year, if you budget correctly, you can save up to 700,000 Rand, which is a massive house that you can buy in your first year. That's up to, 56, about $60,000 just as your salary. Okay? If you work on a charter yacht, like if you have the opportunity to work on a charter vessel, you can easily make an extra 20 to 50K, depending on the boat itself. That's over R1 million for South Africans. That's like ridiculous. You'll never get that in a job here.
And what does the schedule look like? Is it, are you like full-time on the yacht?
Well, like in that scenario, yes, like you've got, well, not full time, no. So the boats work like in two seasons. Like it's a summer season and it's a winter season. Med and the US, both these times is quite simple. The owners of the boats will come for 12 to 16 weeks out of the year. That's it. 12 to 16 weeks, some more, some less. But that's when you're at sea. That's when you're crafting. That's when you're, back. Like you don't go into port. You're just from port to port to port, anchorage to anchorage. You're dropping anchor, and it's just chaos, and it's toys, and you've got no time for yourself whatsoever. But the time flies, though. Time flies, and then at the end of it, you're skinny, you're tanned, you've got money in your pocket, and then you just go spend it all. That's literally what happens. And yeah, like 16 weeks, and then after that, like it kind of slows down. You prep the boat for winter, go back into port where the boat has an actual home berth, where you have a normal life, 8 to 5 work, That's quite fun. To be honest, what I do miss a lot about like the industry itself, because now I'm land based. Well, I've been land based for the last four years, but I've just been in France for a year as well, because I just got sick of being home the whole time, so I went over for a bit. The only thing I really miss is being at sea and driving the boat, because that's why I actually got into the industry, because I like driving boats. I like, the technicality behind it. I enjoy being a captain. Yeah, that's cool. Just sitting back in your breeze, having a cup of coffee, listening to some music, and next stop Barcelona, next stop Italy, wherever you want to go, we just go. And it's fun.
It seems like a cool life. But yeah, like you said, it's chaotic, and your main task is to serve the owner and their guests. So who were these folks? Like, I'm guessing some of them billionaires. What did you learn from hanging around with these guys?
I learned a lot in the sense of, of where money really goes. If you're that rich, because it's all tax haven for these guys. You know what I mean? I didn't learn, too much about that. But what I did learn from the industry itself is I learned that there's a lot of money to be made in the maritime industry. The people that own these boats, yes, the majority of them are but like, you have to be a billionaire to own a boat. You can't be a millionaire and own a yacht. It's just not the same bracket. Okay, a new yacht is average priced at $1 million per meter. So if you're buying a 50 million if you're buying a 50-meter yacht, you're spending 50 million easily, and then that's a lot of money. Anyway, so these guys all they own these boats, and the rock stars, the celebrities that can afford to charter the boat, they come and rent it for like 4 or 5 weeks. They give you a tip, which is nice, and then they leave, and then they come back the next year, back and forth. So that's, to be honest with you, like in the beginning, that's kind of like you get over it. It's nice and exciting. You get to meet a few celebrities and all of that. But after that, it's a bit like, well, I want to do something else. That's when you start looking at, the opportunities beyond after hours. Because you have to understand, when you work on a yacht, it's like Big Brother. You live in a very confined space with like other crew members. You have to get along with them. If you don't, there's friction on board. Your job, you can lose your job like that. There's no job security. There's not much job security. If you excuse my language, but if you fuck up, you get fired, immediately gone. So that's you kind of look at it a different angle. And then I learned,
you're fired by the captain or the boat owner?
Well, no, the captain. Well, mostly the captain. If you depend on the actual, what do you call it, the reason. But mostly, most of the time, it's people just getting drunk and causing trouble, falling off the boat or breaking something or fighting. It's literally, it's a small town syndrome. But I eventually got fired a lot, man, for a lot of things, because I just got sick of it towards the end. I was just like, I can't live on a boat anymore. It's just too small. I have to get out of here. And that's when I started looking at the yacht brokerage side of it. I started studying about, started studying how much money these guys make by selling a yacht, how much commission they make by selling a yacht, and how many brokers are out there that's actually ever worked on a boat. And I found out, okay, cool, none of the actual brokers that are selling these big boats have actually worked on a boat. So what they are telling the owner, compared to what I can tell an owner, if I'm a broker, is, well, I knew for a fact, okay, cool, it's a non-brainer. I can sell. I'm a born salesman. Why don't I sell the boats that I worked on? So that's where I kind of started thinking, okay, cool, let's do that. But then again, it's very difficult. You need to know people in the industry. You need to, it's hard. It's never as easy as you might think. So, plus I'm a South African citizen, so I can't go to the US and and legally go work there and be a broker. So at the end of the day, I decided, okay, cool, let me find another a loop around this, because I want to sell the boats. I want to really build a brand within this industry. It's going to take a while. And that's how the Superyacht CRM kind of got born, because I realized, okay, cool, if I can't physically be a broker there, I'm going to be a broker here, but I'm going to provide the brokers with the system to sell, because they use their own money and their own resources to sell the boat to physically get the commission. So that's my angle from it is I'm providing a platform for them to use my services instead, because I can't be there.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay,
Sense?
what's the commission that a yacht broker can make? Are we talking 5% on a $50 million boat?
You're talking between 1 and 10% easily.
Holy shit, 10%. So I mean, I can make 5 million off a $50 million boat.
Easily, yeah.
That is good money. So
I mean, like, there's a handful of good brokers. There's a handful, not a handful, but there's a pond full of good brokers. They all know each other. Every single yacht broker knows each other because they all go to the same boat shows every year where these boats are being sold. So you know everyone by name. It's if you're good, you'll be fine. But if you're great, you can take over.
And who's great in the industry? What makes them great?
Brand. There's not. Well, there's no. Here's the thing. I've been researching this like for a while now. I can't say who's good or who's not. There are obviously the big brand names like Hemper Nicholson. Those are more like, you see, like these companies. They're everywhere. They're brokers. They're agencies. They're they're recruitment companies. They're everything like within the industry. So they're all competing for this money that's just falling off the boats the whole time. It's ridiculous.
Right. So that's a cool industry. Then my next question is, the yachts you were on, were they chartered, were they rented, or did you ever work on a yacht that you were with the owner of the actual yacht?
That is literally, it's a very good question, but it's very easily answered. I've worked on over 45 yachts. So all these yachts have either been charter or private, or they've been, there's two options, either charter or private, or it's private and charter, which is like a combination of both, where the owner still owns the boat, but when he's not on the boat because he's busy, he just uses the boat to charter it out, and then other people could they can rent it. But if he wants to come back and use his boat, he literally just makes a phone call, and we got to get the boat ready, and then the other guests can't be on board anymore. But there's contracts involved and all that kind of stuff. It's very. That's why there's so many companies involved, because everyone wants to be. It takes a lot of maintenance to manage billionaire.
Right. And what's the difference in experience when you're working and it's the owner himself vs if it's someone that doesn't own the boat?
Yeah, that's a very good question as well. The owner of the vessel, it's a much more relaxed environment, okay? Because he knows what he wants. It's his boat. It's his home, just home away from home. So the crew that he has on there are usually more relaxed. They know the boat better because they've been on the boat for a year or two. They know the systems. They know how everything works. It's never a rush. Okay, a charter yacht is where guests only have they've got a week to have as much fun as possible on this big boat in the middle of the Bahamas. So they're going to party, and they want to go. They're going to try and get as much done as possible in that time, and you have to cater to that. Can't say no. So you're always awake. You're standing by. The toys are ready. The jet skis are ready. The boat's ready, because when they wake up, we assume they're going to eat, and then they want to go play all day, and everything has to be ready to go. Whereas when you work with the owner, he wakes up at 10 o'clock, to have breakfast with his son. Then he goes for a walk. It's way more relaxed. That's the kind of
How do you manage troublesome guests that are drunk all the time?
All the time, like every day.
So how do you manage these guys so that they don't cause trouble and don't disrupt the whole ecosystem on the yacht?
You talk to the principal. So the principal is the guy he's the main guest. He paid all the money. He signed the contract for that rental for that week. In your contract, it is clear that, listen, if we think you are damaging our vessel, if you are being unsafe, if you bring contraband on board, if you are putting our lives at risk, then we will simply cancel the contract and you will leave. There's no hana, you just buy. So these guys know what they're coming in for, and most of the times it's not as bad. It's just the guy's friend sister got too drunk or something like that because they're on the yacht. Oh my god! But most of it, it's fine. It's actually very chill.
So to rent a 50-meter yacht, are we talking 50 to 100K per week?
Yeah, more. You're looking at, okay, so if it's the mid season, okay, which is now, it's coming towards the end, you're looking between 270 and 550 for a 50-meter yacht, bare minimum, and that's for a week. Okay, and
Wow.
that's not even the fuel. Okay? That's just to rent the boat. Now you got to go buy fuel, you got to buy the food, plus you got to tip the crew. So that's that. And then the bigger the boat, the bigger the price tags. I mean, these boats go up till they go big. Yeah, and here's the thing: you can literally go on these websites where you can go and physically look at the yacht, see you can see the amenities, you can see how much it's going to cost per week, you can see how many crew it has, what toys it has. The whole spec sheet's there for you to go pick. And then then you deal with the broker, etc., etc. So my back to the business side of it, I've been developing an app as well for that in the background that actually anyway, that people can use to book the actual charter, all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we're possibly talking about $1 million a month. If I rent my $50 million yacht, that's 12 million a year. Meaning if I rent my yacht, I should expect a return on investment in 5 to 10 years. Is that right?
Yeah, look, yachts, it depends on it honestly depends on how busy you keep the boat. The boat can be busy all year long if you have the right connections, if the boat's in a good condition, and you have the good crew that actually maintains the boat quite well. A lot of these boats really go down. Well, I won't say it's the crew's fault, but you have to understand maintaining a vessel it costs 10% per year of what you bought it for originally. Easily. So if you bought it for, honestly, if you bought it for 50 mil, it's going to cost you $5 million every year, minimum, just to maintain it, just to keep it in the marinas, just to feed the crew, because the crew have to live on the board the whole time. It has to be maintained. Otherwise, it just sink. It'll sink. So it costs a lot of money to maintain it. First of all, that's the thing about why people own boats. They don't own boats because they just like it. It's also a tax haven for them. All their tax goes into the boat because it's a business, essentially. Return on investment, personally, I don't think yes, they make money, but I honestly don't have the figures or have thought about how much money they actually make. According to that, because I just don't know the figures. But
well, it's not much. If I calculate, what about the devaluation? Let's say that I buy my yacht at 50 million. 10 years later, how much would it be worth if I sell it?
No, you'll probably okay. So these are good questions. At the end of the day, if you buy a yacht at 50 million, right, and you have it for 10 years, you're lucky. Well, you're gonna if you have it for 10 years, cool, because that is when. Well, you'll probably have it for longer than that. After it hits the 10-year mark, if it was taken well care of, you have the 10-year survey where the actual boat goes into survey and it has to go through the whole inspection, and it costs you another $3 million to do that easily. After that, the boat's going to be reevaluated. It can go to charter. It's good. You probably can get 30 million for it. So it does drop. It really does drop a lot. But 30 million is still better than nothing.
Yeah. So your point is that you don't buy a yacht really for return on investment. There's taxation loopholes in there. So that is cool. But you buy it also for your own enjoyment. To that point, if I want to own my yacht, how do I make sure that the team, they don't do stupidities and they fight and they get drunk? How do I make sure to hire the best?
You just hire the best captain. You take your time and you find the right captain, because the captain controls everything. The captain is literally in charge of the whole boat, or the whole program, because he's the guy that decides if we're going to sea. And if he says we're going to sea, if he says we're not going to sea, then we're not going to sea, because it's not safe. Simple as that. There are companies and managers that will come in and try and sell their services to the boat owner, which is like, hi, I'll manage your boat for you. I'll manage your finances. I'll manage your insurance. I'll manage all of that for you, which is beneficial to us as captains, because it's a lot of admin. It's a lot of admin dealing with countries and ports that you have to go into. So there's a lot of that involved. So it's good to have that. But at the end of the day, you want to have a good and solid relationship with the captain. You literally want to have him on WhatsApp. That's how you guys talk. Like it has to be like that, because if you don't have the communication, it can be very frustrating for the captain to make decisions which are beneficial to the boat, and going through too many people becomes a nightmare.
Right. So yacht owners are really people that have too much money to know what to do with it, although that is somewhat almost not possible, because theoretically you could donate that money to charities. So you need to have a nice trade-off here to love spending time on water, which I think in my case is the case. What are the benefits of owning a yacht? Because the space can be quite tight. I mean, it's nice to have a breakfast on my balcony with a view of an island with my son and my family, let's say.
Yeah.
What are the other cool things? I mean, you stop in like new countries every day. That's pretty cool too. You can go on walks and go on fancy Italian restaurant. Would you recommend that I own a yacht if I have too much money, then I know what to do with?
I would recommend you do the following, because this is what I would like to do. Okay. Now, I've worked at sea for 20 years. I'm a licensed captain. I've been around this industry for long enough to know exactly what I think, for my personal listen, what I would prefer, and what would be the most affordable yet way to go forward, right? Is you buy a nice sailboat. Okay, like you get a 90-foot to like between 90 and 100-foot sailboat, nice and modern, and you learn how to sail that boat. Which means it's not difficult. Like you can go anywhere in the world to sail this boat. You don't have to rely on fuel as much. Like obviously you do need the backup fuel, but you embody sailing. You become a full-blown sailor. You go take a course. You have to learn how to sail this boat, because it is your house now. And you rig that sailboat out with some solar panels. Okay, rig out with some solar panels, get the right gear, and then you don't have to worry about electricity. You don't have to worry about plugging in anyway. You don't have to worry about anything, because you can then also get a reverse osmosis system on the boat, which is where you make your own fresh water. So you can literally cut off from everything and not have to pay for anything, but not because you don't want to pay. It's the fact that you literally don't have to, and it's still fun. You learn how to sail. You learn the weather. You study where the winds are blowing, the trade winds are blowing year long, so that you can see, okay, cool. If I sail. If I'm going to go from Cape Town back to Port Lauderdale, I got to sail this way for the next 4 months, and then or 3 months, stop there at those islands, and then I got to go this way. It's incredibly fun. Think about it, it's really, really fun. And that's how you you approach it. You don't you don't think about ports and stuff like that. You think about where the wind's going to blow, and where is the trade winds, and where can we fuel, where's our marinas, and you have to plan the whole thing out ahead. That is how I would do it. I would try and make it as eco-friendly as possible, and use my resources to my best, because I know exactly where to find them, and know exactly how to operate them all, and I don't need. And that's it. That's all you need. Or
right.
That's, and there's obviously a lot more final details, but that is part of the plan. You know what I mean? It's not difficult, but learn how to sail.
Yeah, I will do that. I will start with that. That's also my plan. So you said refuel. When do you think it'll be possible to have a boat that is not reliant on fuel and mostly electricity and sails?
Look, that is already possible if you have a lower. It's not possible. That's not really okay. So you have a lot of space in your bunkers to store fuel. All right, like you have to plan that ahead. Like it depends on where you're going to go. So this is why you actually have to learn how to sail, because you need to understand about secondary ports and ports along. Because you can't just say, okay, cool, I'm going to go from here to there, A to B. You can, but you have to look at, okay, cool, but if the weather's coming in, where are we going to stop? Like we have to stop there for fuel. We have to stop there for fuel. It's quite a mission to plan it. Thinking forward, I think in the next 15 years max. I mean, at the moment there are boats coming out where the sails are made of some material that actually charges the boats. It's like solar panels. The sails, they capture the actual sun, and then they charge the boats in a little bay down below, and then you use that as electricity to come in and out of port. So we're not very far off that, but also not any day soon, and it's going to be expensive, because it's no one builds that yet.
Right. How much does a 100-foot sailboat like that cost, and how much would it cost me per month?
Okay, that's a good question. Accurately, okay, you're going to buy it secondhand, right? Well, I would buy secondhand because like a new boat's it's way too expensive. But if you want to buy like 100-footer, man, you can get it for like you can get it for like 50K. Like for 50K, you can get a beautiful, beautiful sailboat. Like you can use that money to sail on that boat for 10 years easily.
And
Like,
new is like 100K, 150K if it's new.
Yeah, exactly. Like if it's new looking 150K, then you have a really nice boat. Then you don't have to worry about anything. I mean, and then you've got the latest GPS, you've got the latest everything in there, you've got sound system, because the boat, listen to me, a boat always breaks. There's every day something breaks. It can be something small, a pipe burst, or something small breaks every single day. And that's what eventually breaks a boat down. And that's why you need crews to maintain that. So, just if you're going to go into it, I honestly advise that you get a logbook and you become part of your boat. It takes over your life. It does. And then to cost you per month, depending on your trip, but you can still go into any marina and they charge you per foot. Like if your boat's, they charge you per foot, like to stay. So if your boat's 30 feet, between 20 and 30 feet, those boats pay $200 a night, like to park their boats in the marina. I don't know the prices. I can't remember the actual prices, but some of them are like between $5 and $10 a night out of season, which is not too bad. But still, it's rental. But that gives you access to the toilets. That gives you access to the shore. Unless you want to go, anchor your boat off the island there and then take the little dinghy in. Depends on you again. So you can manage it quite cheaply. Again, if you have all your facilities on board, like your shower and your hot water, then you don't need to go into port. But you will eventually have to go into port. It's as simple as that. Go get your groceries done. I think that'll cost you about a grand and a half max. If you're living on your boat, then it shouldn't cost you more than that. Simple.
Per month, 1.5K per month in total.
Yeah, more or less.
What if I don't want to repair stuff on a daily basis because my time is like good money, my hourly time, let's call it that way? Is there a way that I don't have to constantly spend a lot of my time repairing the boat?
Yeah, there is. That's prior preparation. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Okay, meaning just keep an eye on everything. You don't don't take risks if you don't know what you're doing. Everything has a manual. Make sure that you know what you're doing before you're going out. It's like, don't go sailing when you're not supposed to go sailing. Don't go sailing when it's blowing, 40 knots and you don't have experienced crew. Don't go sailing when, just don't go. Just stay in port and wait for the weather to calm down, because if you decide to go out and the wind blows and your crew freak out, that's real life danger. Like, you can have a fire on board. It's I've been on boats where fires have burst out where you didn't expect it coming. A brand new super yacht was launched. A day later, it burnt down. Poof! It burnt down. It was 50 million. It just burnt down because it wasn't ready to go, and that can happen like that. So, just it's. I would recommend that you be careful. Just be careful. Know what you're doing. And don't go sailing when you're not supposed to, because the boat will roll. It's going to roll. And then stuff's going to fall off because it's not tidy. It's not tied on something, because people don't understand a sailboat is round, it rolls. And if you don't tie things down, it's going to start falling, and it's falling. The next thing, the microwave falls, and then the microwave falls onto the kitchen, onto the fridge, and the fridge falls onto the ground. That punches the hole. And then next thing, it's a disaster. And you spend, yeah, you know what I'm going on.
And that kind of worries me, because I mean, there's like if you're stuck in a storm, that's a danger. Like my first mentor that became my business partner, he had a boat and he had pirates come on board. I think at the level of, was it Venezuela? I think, or Trinidad, Tobago. And he had, pirates come on board with AK-47s, and he was robbed at gunpoint. So how do you avoid these dangers?
Well, don't, again, like you won't find me going to the middle of Johannesburg 12 o'clock at night looking to buy a beer, because I'm not supposed to be there. I'm gonna be in trouble. People are gonna fuck me up if I'm there. Same thing with boats. Don't go where you're not supposed to go. And if you really have to go there, don't, or try find. an alternative route. Speak to the locals. Local knowledge is the best. The local knowledge is always the best because you find out from the local guys that sail there every day, the guys that have retired, where are the routes that we should avoid. Look at the charts. The charts actually tell you avoid these routes. But that itself, that's more for, that's local knowledge. And get yourself a radio. Well, obviously, you do need a radio, but you need to have two radios. One's for communication and one is for navigation. It's as simple as that. So you can always listen to what's going on the channels. Have the local book in front of you that tells you, okay, cool, channel 669 is for communication, channel 72 is for that's inbound or outbound traffic. Listen to what your surroundings, and then you should be fine. Like, it's not like I mentioned, going into or becoming a mariner. That's what you're doing. You can't really just say, okay, cool, I'm going to go buy a boat and go sailing for a bit. It doesn't work like that. Like, you can waste your money. You have to become. That's it. Like, that's your boat. Simple as that.
Become a pirate.
Yeah.
I mean, I would carry firearms on board. Like, if someone decides to fuck with me, well, yeah, it's probably illegal. But yeah, like, is it illegal?
Well, I don't know. I've never actually gone into a different country with a gun before. I wouldn't risk that purely because you are crossing a lot of borders, and then you don't know what the next country's law is about carrying a weapon, and I just wouldn't risk it. Or if you really have to, then make sure you check with every single country where you're going if you're allowed to have a gun there. Here's another good way to go about this: is there is a lot of agencies, small individual guys that run the local maritime market, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot of small boats that come in that sell fresh fish to the guys. There's a lot of guys that come in and take your passport for you, go with them to go get checked in at the border. They literally help you because of language barriers, of whatever. And those are the guys that you want to talk to. Those are the guys that have been doing or helping people like you for the last 30 years. So its job is to find you and help you get in and get out. That's the best way to do it. Like I said, it's hustling. Like, if you think about it, that's all hustling.
Right. Last chat, tell us about your business, what you do nowadays, and what you want to accomplish this year.
Okay, cool. So from everything that I've just told you, essentially, I have a system in place. I have now learned how to build a system that helps people. Mainly my niche is obviously the maritime industry, but I do not just stay within the maritime industry because that's just silly. I'm a software developer. I've built a CRM that helps the maritime market or any person that has a business automate their outreach. Okay, it's a very powerful CRM. For those that don't know what a CRM is, it's a customer relationship manager. All right, it handles everything from email marketing to customer relationship to interviews to calendars to website building. Everything that you physically do online, this tool does. It's a complete package where you can manage your social media marketing, market your podcast, and it's very powerful. It also offers international cell phone numbers. It literally has everything in it. I don't want to pitch it too much because at the end of the day, I haven't built it to make money. It's essentially it's been a passion project of mine for the last 4 years. It's now I'm getting traction because I've decided to fully commit to it. My clients at the moment are mainly maritime business owners, maritime brokers, but I'm also open to other people coming in to use the system. It's a subscription-based system where people pay to use the software. There's no limit. There's no limit to what you can do with it. There's no you can only send 5,000 emails. There's absolutely no limit to users or to growth of the system. That's my brand and my business. But I personally also, because I'm a full stack developer, I've built apps, as well that help people growth hack. It's automation as a service. So I've built an app that physically you take it, you put in your search queries. Like, I'd like to find yacht brokers in New York that I'd like to find 10 yacht brokers in New York. I'd like to find the owner's email address and the salesperson's email address. With one swipe, it's like you swipe it, and the information will go and scrape the actual company, present it to you in the same app, where you can now and actually go and reach out to them via email, via phone. You find their social media details as well, and you market to them. It's a marketing machine.
Interesting. Will you still be captaining some yacht, some super yacht in the next couple of times, or did you retire from that?
I'm gonna go back. I don't want to drive. Well, I don't mind driving boats, but I'm gonna go back as a broker. The next time I go back is either as a broker or as a guest on a boat. Like I told myself, the next time I go back, I'm gonna sit back and relax, and you're gonna be serving me. That's my goal.
Love it, man. Where can people find out more about you, Chad?
Well, unfortunately, my Facebook page got hacked a few months ago, so I've had to start from scratch. You can find me on Facebook as Chad DeWet. You can find me on LinkedIn is my main place as well as Chad DeWet. Website's called superyachtcrm.com. Most people don't know how to spell it. It's quite silly, but it's just spell the word Superyacht and then CRM.com, and you'll find us. I've also got an app out on the Play Store, which is called the Superyacht search engine, which is another project that I've been working on. It's been ranking first on the Google Play Store for keyword Superyacht for the last 4 years. It is another app that literally finds resources for the superyacht industry. It's very powerful. So that's where you can find us. My developer profile is also on there. So yeah, just type in my name and you'll find me. I'm quite